Good evening, TOC, the Outreach Collective, and thank you for joining us Monday evening. I'm sure a lot of you are still at work or are getting home from work or trying to join us from an airport. So, wherever you are, thank you for joining us. And those of you who will not be able to join us, you will get the recording as always. When we started thinking about professional development workshops for the Outreach Collective members, um, one of the things that was absolutely at the forefront for me at least was understanding the curriculums that are followed in India better, because a lot of us deal with students, guide students day in and day out, and often we are asked very technical questions, or sometimes not even technical but basic questions that are seemingly simplistic, but we actually don't know the answers to them. Even something as basic as what is the difference between Cambridge and IB, right? And that is, I think, a question that a lot of us get. So this is a workshop, and these are a series of workshops that we are all really looking forward to. The first in the series is, of course, Cambridge Qualifications for University Admissions. And just a quick overview of Cambridge, just a couple of lines to give you the context of the scale of this. The world's largest international education, is the world's largest provider of international education programs and qualifications for 5 to 19-year-olds. And over 10,000 schools in more than 160 countries offer Cambridge programs and qualifications. And if that's not enough, more than 2,200 universities in 90 countries formally recognize Cambridge qualifications, including all UK universities and over 850 US universities. So, safe to say, it is the most popular international qualification in the world. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker lineup, a stellar speaker lineup today. Shamim Chaudhary, Regional Manager for Recognition and Policy at Cambridge Assessment International Education, who's going to anchor this conversation and tell us a lot more about Cambridge. Ruchira Ghosh, who's the principal of Sancta Maria International School, Hyderabad. And Upasana Kindra, College Advisor, DPS International Saket. So welcome to all of you, and over to you, Shamim.
Thank you. I'll just take a quick second to share the slide as I keep talking. I hope I'm able to do both together. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in whichever time zone, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. But I think a lot of you are in India. So it's a big good evening to all of you. We have we are three speakers today, and I consider myself very lucky because I have two speakers from schools that run the complete Cambridge Pathway program. So I'll give a quick introduction. We have Ruchira Ghosh, who is the principal at Sancta Maria International School, which is based in Hyderabad. And she has over maybe 2 decades, Ruchira, if I'm right, of experience in varied roles in international education. And I'm very proud to say that she has been my colleague earlier, because prior to her being with the school, she led Cambridge schools in South Asia in the capacity of regional director of Cambridge International. We also have with us Upasana Kinra, College Advisor, DPS International Saket, which is in New Delhi. She, apart from her role as a college advisor, she teaches psychology to Cambridge A-level students. She also happens to be parent of 2 Cambridge students. So you can understand the people who are talking are not just engaged, but they are deeply engaged with what they're going to talk about today. I'm going to quickly go through. We still have people walking in. So I really like showing this slide every time I do a presentation. I don't know how many of you can relate with this, but this is actually a poster that you can see on the corridors of Cambridge schools all over the world. One of the posters. And this kind of reflects what kind of learners or students we want and try to have in our schools. I think Bhakti at the beginning gave a very nice introduction about Cambridge, but I'm still going to talk a little bit about who we are. We are actually part of the University of Cambridge, a non-teaching department of the University of Cambridge. And we have been providing international exams for more than 150 years. In fact, the first time Cambridge International ran exams outside the United Kingdom was in Trinidad for 6 international students in Trinidad. And many people in India would be familiar with the senior Cambridge exams that used to happen many, many years back, pre-independence, and maybe for a few years after independence of India as well. We are currently in 160 countries where we work with schools who offer our programs. Now, for those of you who are not too familiar, there are a few names which I'm going to explain and what it means from this slide. Now, when I say the Cambridge pathway, we actually have programs for students starting age 5 to pre-university, that is 18, 19 years of age. And these 4 stages of primary, lower secondary, upper secondary, and what we call as the Cambridge Advanced, it kind of leads seamlessly throughout. And the best part is that each stage kind of builds on the student's development from the previous one, but it can also be offered separately. So you can very often find Cambridge schools which offer maybe a different curriculum throughout the schooling. And then at Cambridge Advanced in year 11, 12 in India, or maybe at this senior secondary level in each of the countries, they would be offering the Cambridge Advanced curriculum. There are schools which will probably offer a lower secondary program, which is a Cambridge program. And then for upper secondary, they may offer a different program and again go back to Cambridge. So the schools find it very easy to flip and use our programs as it suits the needs of their students in the school. We believe that in giving Cambridge schools the power to shape their curriculum around how they want students to learn. And this varies depending upon the national context, the circumstances or the background the cohorts come from in each of the cities and countries where we work with. I'm now going to hand over to Ruchira for talking a bit more about the Cambridge curriculum. Ruchira, I will be, just let me know when you want to move your slides and I'm going to click through yours. Over to you, Ruchira.
Thank you so much, Shamim, for that kind introduction. Thank you so much, Ankur, Bhakti, for having me here. And thank you, Upasna, for joining me as a co-panelist for the program. And thank you all the lovely audience who've joined us today. Like Shamim said, I am from Sancta Maria. Sancta Maria School is located in Hyderabad. We also, I'm sorry, I think I might switch off my camera because there's a power fluctuation in the school. I think it'll be easy for me to move on like that. Shamim, if we can move to the next slide. I am going to talk a little bit about our school just to give you the context. And then I'll talk about why we chose A levels in particular for our school. So in my presentation today, I'm going to be talking about our school, why we went for A levels, and I'll be focusing more on Cambridge A levels rather than the entire pathway that Shamim spoke about. because I believe there is more interest in understanding how the high school qualifications provide a seamless route to university admissions for students. I'll talk a little bit about our curriculum approach in our school, and then also about the university destinations of our students. And I'll wrap up with a little bit of advice from our own students who've gone through AS and A levels. So, to begin with, just to talk about our school, we are part of the St. Mary's Educational Society, which was founded 40 years ago. About Cambridge Pathway, Shamim, you forgot about the early years stage though. And we are a school that has Cambridge right from early years, so age 3 to grade 12. We follow early years right up to ASA levels. We are also approved Cambridge PD Center, so Professional Development Center, and we offer certificate and diploma in teaching and learning, which is accredited by Cambridge International. And we are a center for Cambridge assessment testing university admissions. So when some of us in this group are kind of, deeply involved with Cambridge, you can see that on this slide that our school is pretty involved with Cambridge International. So just a few statistics about our school below there. So we have a total of 1493 students currently, of which 317 are in grades 9 to 12. So these are 300 plus students doing Cambridge IGCSE, AS, and A levels in our school. We have 151 teachers. The lovely picture that you see here is of our graduating class of 2023. So 64 grade 12 students. About 60% of our grade 11 students are our own IGCSE students, and we get 40% from other schools and other boards, including IB and CBSE. Our school completes 12 years in 2023. We are really proud of these two figures, 11 and 7. So there has been an increase in retention of our IGCSE students over the last 2 years. So the dropout of IGCSE students was 39% in 2021, which has come down to 11%, which means more and more families are having the trust that AS A levels are the right qualifications after IGCSE. And 7% of our students from the last two batches have gone into the top 20 universities by Times QS ranking. Shamim, we can move to the next slide, please. I want to talk a little bit about our school's reasons for choosing Cambridge and particularly Cambridge A levels. The very important reason for us has been flexibility and choice that Cambridge provides. So, starting with having staged assessment for Cambridge A levels, I'm sure Shamim is going to talk a little more about that. But to be able to offer both AS level and full A levels, that gives a lot of flexibility to our students. So they don't have to do 2-year program in one go. The fact that Cambridge provides 55 subjects to choose from, and within those subjects also there are choices. The tremendous flexibility for Indian schools in particular to choose from one of the 3 series. We also have the March exam series, which are offered specifically for India, which means that our students can get their results both for international and Indian university admissions. And the idea of having coursework in subjects provides again a lot of choice and flexibility. The second important reason for us has been the wide recognition Cambridge has, both within India and abroad. And as a school, we cater to a lot of mobile families. And for them to be able to move seamlessly from one Cambridge school to the other is a huge benefit that our families see. The third very important reason is reputation. I think Cambridge University itself stands for very high reputation, which provides a lot of credibility to our school program as well. The fourth reason for us is fair and reliable assessments. And particularly during the pandemic period, Cambridge was the only board that was actually able to provide very reliable grades to the learners to help them move forward with their university admissions. Then the fifth reason for us is the quality of support. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons, of course. The teaching and learning resources provided by Cambridge, the very prompt customer service, the training events, the Cambridge community which exists in India. I would say Shamim's work in improving recognition within India and South Asia for Cambridge. And in particular, I really value Shamim, just stay on the other slide itself. I think I really value the work Shamim has done on providing schools a recognition toolkit and the consolidated mark sheet for schools, which is not provided by the board otherwise, and the bespoke support we get from Cambridge. So we feel that students are equipped with in-depth conceptual understanding, and they develop habits of independent learning and research, which universities value a lot. And this aligns very well with our own school vision, which is to unlock the potential of every learner for a better world. So it makes complete sense for us to have Cambridge as our curriculum of choice. Shamim, we can go to the next slide now, please. So I want to talk a little bit about the subjects that we offer at our school. So out of the 55 subjects that Cambridge offers, we offer 20 subjects. Now, schools typically begin with AS level in grade 11, and then they continue with A2 in grade 12, and AS and A2 together becomes the total A level qualification. I think Shamim will make it easier for everyone to understand this later. But most students write their AS exams at the end of grade 11 and A2 at the end of grade 12. But some students also do the full A levels at the end of grade 12. Now, these are the subjects. I'll just let you look at the slide perhaps for a few seconds for you to get a range of subjects that we offer in our school. These bands are our bands at school. These are not Cambridge bands. So the best thing about Cambridge curriculum is that they let the schools decide how they would like to offer these subjects and in what combinations it works for the school. I do want to refer to the last two subjects right at the bottom. We offer the International Project Qualification. And for those of you who are familiar with the IB board, you may look at it as an equivalent of extended essay. But students who are particularly interested in research and want to improve their essay writing skills, or they demonstrate a passion in a particular subject which they don't want to study formally at A levels, these are the kind of students who really like IPQ. And global perspectives and research, again, is a very innovative subject which provides students the opportunity to develop skills in critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and reflection in an interdisciplinary way. Shamim, I think we can go to the next slide. So that's the academic curriculum that I spoke about. The flexibility that Cambridge provides gives us a lot of space to offer our own enrichment curriculum for the students. So we, of course, have school-based extracurricular activities like clubs and societies. We have all the sports. We have the house competitions, Model United Nations. Our high school students do internships within the school and outside. And of course, they volunteer for different community projects as well. And then we have the Cambridge facilitated projects like the Duke of International Award, and that's the IYP logo that you see right there, and the upper secondary science competition. So what I wanted to really say here is that we are not bound by any specific way in which we can offer the curriculum. We can decide to choose whatever we want to take from Cambridge and then extend our school's context to that curriculum to build our own curriculum. Shamim, we can go to the next slide, please. So these are some of the universities where Sanctimarians have gone, and you'll see a good mix of very reputed international universities as well as Indian universities. So again, I'll just let you look at this slide for a few seconds. A very common misconception, at least at the time when I was at Cambridge, was that Cambridge is meant for students who want to go abroad, or Cambridge does not prepare students well enough for entrance exams for Indian undergraduate studies. So you'll see here we have the Delhi University, BITS Pilani, and we have the international universities right out there in the mix. But in the next slide, Shamim, we can go to the next slide. I wanted to especially show the kind of universities our class of 2022, the last batch, went to. So here you can see right from AIMS to engineering colleges to liberal arts, design. So basically, you name it, and the students are able to get into those universities. I mean, we can go to the next slide, which has a very nice testimonial of one of our students who has now completed her engineering from ICFI in Hyderabad. So she's really talking about how Cambridge curriculum allowed her to tackle some of the very challenging questions that she encountered in a 3-hour long exam that she did for joining the ICFI Tech course. And I think that's a huge testimony for us, for our IGCSE students who are in doubt about whether they should go ahead with AS and A levels. Shamin, we can go to the next slide. And I hope we'll be able to play this video. So I'll let you watch this video now, where our students are providing a little more advice on what to expect at AS and A levels. Yes, Shamin, we can play it, please.
Is the sound not coming?
All of the subject information is available on the
Uh, Shamim, the video.
Sorry.
Shamim, the video is pausing in between.
Well, I think because it is streaming.
there were subjects that I just took.
Not
out
for
of
me.
my own
I mean, it
interest,
depends
out
on
of
the
my
bandwidth.
own, will to be
साइकिल पंप वाला बुक दिया मैंने हाँ
Okay, I think now the video is over. Thank you so much for patiently listening to this video. Ruchira, do you have anything to say before ending this?
No, I think that was my last bit in the presentation. I'll be happy to join you for any questions later. But I think that gives a glimpse of what we do in our school and what some of our students have to say. I'll hand back to you, Shamim, to carry on from here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we would definitely want you to stay back with us. Well, for those who are posting questions at this moment in the chat, it might be difficult to fish out these questions by the time we come to the Q&A. So I would suggest that kindly hold. And when the question and answer session opens, you may post your questions so that we can easily find your queries and respond to you. Thank you. I'm going to quickly cover a bit about these terms which might be new to a few of us. Sometimes we get referred to as the IGCSE board. I would like to say that the exam board is not the IGCSE. So it's Cambridge Assessment, and IGCSE is actually the name of the qualification. So we say Cambridge IGCSE because IGCSE is International GCSE qualification. These are offered in 146 countries. And one thing which you really need to understand, especially those of you logging in from India, is these are subject-based qualifications, which basically means students get to select which subjects they want and they take exams for those number of subjects. So typically, students might take 5 subjects, some might take 7, some might take 8. It all depends upon the student's capacity and what the school is allowing them to take. This is very unlike the Indian system where you have a secondary school qualification, which is basically a bunch of subjects combined together, which you have to take. Cambridge does not dictate how many subjects you have to take in year 10 or at the secondary or matriculation level. So in each country, depending upon the country's requirements and what the students prefer, schools suggest the number of subjects the students may take to do these exams. These exams are flexible. So students have a range of subjects. We don't say that you have to take this many languages, you have to take this many subjects from arts and humanities, or you have to take maths, you have to take sciences. We don't dictate subject groups or subjects. Any combination is absolutely all right with us. The other thing that I really want to talk about is we all understand the students have different abilities, and most of the times when you have qualifications like the secondary and the senior secondary qualifications, they don't always cater to students who have varying levels of abilities, be it maths, be it sciences, be it language, be it speaking, be it writing. We try our best to ensure that our qualifications and our programs can cater to a wide variety of students with different levels of abilities. Our IGCSE programs are also compatible with our other curricula, be it in India, be it in any other country. People can combine it with any national curricula or regional curricula or international curricula as well. Now, just similar to Cambridge IGCSE, which is taken in the secondary level, there is something called the Cambridge Ordinary level. Not too popular in India, but it is popular in several countries where we work with the government ministries like Mauritius. And they are of the same level. They are secondary level qualifications, but these are designed in a manner for students whose first language may not be English, meaning they may not be native English speakers. The level of assessments is the same, the content is the same, but the language is very different. That helps students understand better. And they test the same skills as the Cambridge IGCSEs. A fair assessment for every student. Now, I earlier mentioned that we are part of Cambridge Assessment, and assessment is actually our core strength. So we try to be fair to all students in every country. Our work in the qualifications, they include written, oral coursework, practical assessment options. This kind of gives students the opportunity to demonstrate what they know well and what they have learned. There is a little bit more of detailed here about the kind of grading system that we have, but I'm not going to get into grading details right now. I'm going to post links that will take you to the website, which will give you more information. But I'm going to specify one thing for our Indian audience here. We know that in India, all higher education institutions require a numerical score or a percentage mark for admission purposes. Now, Cambridge always has been awarding alpha grades as well as a percentage mark for students in most countries, including India. So it's very easy for our students to use Cambridge results when they're applying to Indian institutions. And it's easy for universities to understand our results the way they are without any need for calculating a GPA or calculating an aggregate score or converting grades. This is, I think, what a lot of you would be interested, because this is the qualification that students take at the senior secondary level. In India specifically, it is grade 11 and grade 12. So this is a 2-year program. When I say AS and AS is basically advanced subsidiary. It's a 1-year program. And after that, when you complete the A2 part, that is the year 2 part, the total qualification for the 2 years combined is known as the advanced qualification. So here what happens is in India, and I'm making a lot of reference to India because I saw from where most people have registered. So just for you all to know that students are required to complete the 2-year full qualification in the subjects that they are taking, because in India, students are supposed to study over a period of 2 years for the senior secondary program, because we have the 10+2 requirement in India, which is necessary for getting into undergraduate degree programs at the university. And this, we offer around 55 subjects, but schools are free depending upon their interest, how many subjects they want to offer. And I think somebody made a question about teachers, and yes, they also need to see what kind of teachers are available for which subjects and for what training is available to come up with trained teachers to offer the kind of subjects that we offer. And I'll assure you about one thing here. We regularly run programs for our teachers in various subjects. And we try and ensure that the community of our schools that we have in India support each other. The schools also in terms of ensuring that they are able to carry out or deliver the programs the way they're supposed to be. So there's a lot of mentoring that happens within our school community as well. This kind of explains in a little bit more detail about what the assessments are at the Cambridge advanced level. So you can see that there are very clearly three options. So one is a linear method, which basically means the student studies continuously for 2 years and finishes the full program and then takes exam at the end of year 12. The other option is the students study the subject for 1 year, that is in grade 11 in India, and they can then decide that they don't want to study the subject anymore. Maybe they feel they're not interested or they feel it's too tough. So students have an option to drop that subject after studying it for 1 year. In that case, they get a qualification which is called the advanced subsidiary. Now, earlier when we were talking of flexibility, this is one thing which comes into mind is students don't get tied to their choices that they make when they're just 16 years old and they're getting into high school. There are times when the subjects are so varied that students are not sure whether they would really like to study or not. But this gives them an opportunity to try, check, study for 1 year, see if the interests align, or else they just drop after studying the subject for 1 year. So somebody may just want to study drama just for the sake of personal interest, but not take it up seriously later on. So we would have subjects like this, or maybe art and design, and they can study it for 1 year, drop it, and then take their core subjects for 2 complete years. So the staged assessment would mean that the students will complete 1 year of study, take exams for what they've studied in 1 year, get over and done with it. Then they start the second year's curriculum, and then they take exams at the end of the second year for the rest. It's basically kind of helping them break down the pressure and the weight that a subject would require them to study. So that helps a lot of students depending upon how they want to do it. Most schools would be offering them both the choices. And it's totally dependent upon how students feel comfortable, what really works for them, um, and they can decide which kind of assessment that they want to take. A quick information about when we run our exams in India and when results come out. I think that's a concern for a lot of people. We run exams thrice a year in India. One exam in March, which is solely for India, and the ones in November and June, these are exams that happen at the time globally in all countries. The best thing about having exams in March is our results are released by before mid-May. In fact, we release our results even before most Indian exam boards release their results in the summer every year. The students have results in hand and they are able to apply to universities in India with results in hand, unlike a popular misconception that international boards have their own schedule and their own time, which is geared for global universities, and they don't cater to India, which is actually not very true. Now, Cambridge, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how our qualifications are accepted. Now, our qualifications are accepted at universities, colleges, professional associations, governments, ministries, and companies across 195 countries. This includes all the Ivy Leagues in the US, many in Australia, Canada, Germany, and beyond. The Cambridge International programs have a proven reputation for being an excellent preparation for university employment and life. We work very closely with universities to even design and get feedback on the programs that we develop. Universities tell us that they value the independent research and the critical thinking skills, as well as the deep subject knowledge that our students and qualifications bring in. Students typically use Cambridge International AS and A levels to gain places at universities worldwide, including India, UK, US, Canada, Australia, name it, in most countries it is so. And Cambridge International AS levels are, AS and A levels are accepted for entrance to all UK universities. In places like the United States and Canada, good grades in specific subjects, not all subjects, it would depend upon what students are applying for, can result in up to 1 year of university course credit. Students typically would take 3 subjects at the advanced level, and because that is what is required to meet undergraduate entry in universities in most countries. In some countries, advanced subsidiary, that is the 1-year program, as well as the Cambridge IGCSE, which is the secondary level program, also meets entry requirements. For example, in US, the community colleges would take students with Cambridge IGCSEs as well. And in the UK, universities accept Cambridge IGCSE English language qualifications as evidence of English language proficiency and competence for university study. This is specifically for India. In India, the way Cambridge qualifications are recognized is students are expected to do, if they're doing the secondary level, they're expected to do 5 subjects, including English language. If they're doing the senior secondary, they're expected to do 2 or 3 Cambridge A levels to be considered as equivalent to a higher secondary qualification in India. So most Indian universities typically would be looking at 3 Cambridge A levels. So we always advise our students that they should do at least 3 A levels, if not more, so that they can apply to most universities, including competitive universities in India. Now, national boards and state boards in India recognize these qualifications as equivalent to secondary and senior secondary, which basically means students are able to migrate or transfer if at any point of time they wish to discontinue studying in a Cambridge school. And we have seen that, especially in the last 2 years during the pandemic, I think a lot of families have been affected. A lot of families have shifted back to India, gone to their hometowns in cities and towns where there are no Cambridge schools. And we do know that there are instances where people have actually been forced to move into schools which are non-Cambridge schools because of the personal circumstances. And it's been very much possible for them to move out of a Cambridge school system and move into these state boards or the national curriculum boards in India. So that's more or less at this moment from my side, and I am going to stop sharing so that Upasana is going to carry on after this. So over to you, Upasana. I'm just stopping presenting. Let's give us a few seconds for her to share the next part.
Okay, so is my screen visible now?
You need to start the show,
Yeah.
the presentation. Yeah.
All right. So good evening to all of you. And
Upasana, I'm sorry, you have to just press from beginning on the left-hand side for the slideshow to begin.
This is the first slide.
Yeah, on the top left, from beginning, if you just start your slideshow.
So, Pasna, we can see your screen, but it's not full screen. It's not in slideshow mode. So if you can just click on slideshow and from beginning,
I did slideshow, but I don't know why it's not showing the slideshow there. I'll just
you see the from beginning on the top left?
Yes, I did this, but I think it's, can you see the entire slide?
No, why don't you do this? Stop sharing your screen and restart your screen share and then.
Okay, I'll do that.
Give it a minute, yeah.
I'll try that. I'll just do it again.
Yeah, please.
If I. Is it okay?
Absolutely fine. Absolutely. Go ahead, Upasana, please.
All right. So first of all, good evening to all of you, and thank you to the TOC community for arranging this, because I think we needed this platform. Thank you, Shamim and Ruchira, for taking up the entire nitty-gritty of the Cambridge curriculum. And I think it's important for us to bust a lot of myths around Cambridge curriculum and the way to university after Cambridge curriculum, and how it is for students who are studying it. So a lot of it has already been taken up by Shamim and Ruchira. So my role as a college advisor in school, as you know, is a lot about, subject combinations, picking some subjects and dropping them, making those combinations not just at grade 11, but also at grade 9, because Cambridge, gives that liberty of kids, to kids to pick up their subjects or choose their subjects when they come in grade 9. So, they have that kind of advantage of deciding what to do, because those who are very science focused would rather take more of sciences and a combination of others as well, because like already told by Shamim and Ruchira, so there is a lot of freedom of choosing one, from one subject to the other. So there is no such, no such boxes being made as to, you have to pick up only from these. So it is entirely on the school how they do. And I will be talking a lot about how it works for students and universities, and what universities say about our curriculum, what students say, and even what the parents have to say. And towards the end, we'll also see the career trajectory or the study trajectory of our students, that, the kind of skills that Cambridge helps build them. So how they really move on with life. So it is not just taking subjects and doing well in school so that they get into a university, but what after that also. So if we just have a quick look at this slide. So this is basically about, a survey done by Cambridge, where you can see that 100% people agree that Cambridge students think logically and present coherent arguments. So these were the, surveys done with the universities, so that, we have a clear understanding as to what universities feel about our students. And, when a student gets into a university the first year, say, for example, you get into a very good university this year. So how the student performs will start your school's legacy in that university. And next year, they will take all your students very seriously who are applying there. And this is something that we have seen, that we have built up that reputation in the top universities all around the world. So, we have a legacy in a lot of wonderful universities. And it is like, kind of a customary, I very, it's like a joke with us that we say, we have got our customary admission to this university or that university, not naming them, but the top universities that generally our students go to. So a lot depends on the kind of work these students do when they are in the university, and that is something the Cambridge A levels does to them. So that's what I think. And when I'm talking, I'm not talking just as a career advisor, like Shamim already very nicely introduced me as a parent of a Cambridge student. Yes, I have seen the progress, I have seen the growth, the way my daughter has evolved and the way she's getting ready for university, and the kind of improvement I see in a lot of areas, whether it's research skills or her communication skills or the way she writes. So all of this is thanks to the way the curriculum is designed and the way the assessments are designed, which very beautifully Shamim has already shared with you people. So I also talk as a parent and a college advisor. And very importantly, also because I am a teacher of psychology at my school, so I teach A levels and AS level psychology. So the entire curriculum, we might have just say six topics in AS level, but they may not be 20, but those 6 will be so in depth that by the end of AS level, our kids are prepared to even design their own research. It's that kind of in-depth studies that they do. So that's what we are going to see, what even the universities say. The very first one says that 98% said Cambridge Qualifications give students excellent preparation for university. And towards the end, we see what Stuart from MIT USA says, that students who have taken Cambridge International A levels do very well at our campus. They are very well prepared for our curriculum, and we find that they have a lot of confidence, but also that they have a good deep subject knowledge, the ability to think critically and well. So that is how you build up on the reputation of the curriculum and the school, and things are, in place for the next generations who are taking up the A-level curriculums later in your school. So okay, let me go to the next. Okay. So this is again a result of some surveys done by Cambridge, which says that Cambridge students attack university work with confidence. Students can communicate effectively, carry out research, and apply knowledge to real-life situations. So these are all verbatim that we've put them together for you. Cambridge students are strong in critical thinking and writing and are intellectually curious. So all of this makes them an absolutely wonderful fit for any university they go into, whether it's in India or outside India. So they are prepared. So again, looking at what the person from MIT said, he said there are a number of students enrolling at MIT each year with Cambridge qualifications. Our admissions process recognizes the Cambridge curriculum as excellent preparation for MIT. The next one is from the Washington State University, where he says that students with 3 Cambridge International AS level and 3 Cambridge International A levels are automatically awarded 24 credits, which equate to their entire first year at university. So it saves on time and money both. And that is something that the student from Santa Maria also shared with us in that video. From the Florida State University, they say the students who pass Cambridge examinations with a grade E or higher may receive up to 45 hours of college credit. This gives students opportunities to pursue double majors and graduate early, which is, again, it gives so much of choices to our kids and a lot of freedom to do a lot of stuff that they might be interested at the same time. So at Purdue University, they said international students applicants with Cambridge qualifications are better academically prepared to begin the university studies. They're more likely to qualify for academic scholarships, which add an extra level of esteem and economic security throughout their academic careers. And the Duke University says that the rigorous curriculum allows students to learn topics in considerable depth, and importantly also gives them the opportunity to see how they relate to each other in a broader global point of view. So universities, when they look at the applications and they know that the child is from A-level curriculum, so this is the kind of perception with which they look at the applications. Now a few bites from some of Cambridge students, more specifically students from my school. We have Ariman, who's doing a bachelor's in chemistry at University of Cambridge, who I reached out to my students and I said, hey, I have a presentation and need you to tell me what and how Cambridge A-levels helped you. So they were kind enough to send me their bites, and this is again, I have put together for you people. So Ariman says that I found Cambridge A-levels helpful simply because the way they are taught, more application, less memorization, and is similar to how teaching is done here. So that is, again, a very smooth transitioning for our kids who know that, this is how they are going to be taught at a university. And obviously, they will end up doing really well. So another student, Devaj, who is studying environmental engineering presently at UCB in US, that is UC Berkeley, he says that Cambridge A-levels helped me a lot as I was able to earn credits and also enroll for high-level classes in the first year itself. Similarly, Tanvi, who did a dual degree from Sciences Po and Columbia in public policy and economics, she says that the Cambridge curriculum has helped me tremendously in transitioning from school into college. In my first year of college, for instance, I found myself knowing and analyzing information much better than my classmates. It's also honed my critical thinking skills and made me capable of breaking down ideas and critiquing them. So lastly, this is last student whom I have here who did a Bachelor of Science program at the very prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, is now getting ready to study do his PhD at Cambridge this year, October. He says that besides subject knowledge, A-levels has equipped me with the ability to learn independently and other skills essential to research. In particular, the AS level practical exams and A-level planning papers in the science subjects built a solid base in designing and analyzing experiments and has given me the confidence to explore the same. Despite the differences between Indian and IGCSE syllabi, I was able to obtain a high rank in the KVPY scholarship exam that is heavily based on Indian curriculum, and this, I believe, is thanks to the strong foundation that A-levels has given me to build upon. So the myth that you cannot deal with the Indian scholarships and Indian exams just because you are studying IGCSE or A-levels is again a little skewed. It's not a very absolute truth here. So students do explore a lot of other things that India, even though they are doing IGCSE and AS level, A-level syllabus, because it is the skills that matter and it is the skills that help them continue with a lot of other things that the national curriculum students pursue in India. Now, I have a parent who gave me a nice testimonial. She's actually Devaj and Tanvi's mom, whose testimonial you just heard and read. So this is what she had to say. In fact, she volunteered that, I would also like to give something as a parent, and I would like to say something as a parent. So this is what she sent. As a parent, I'm extremely pleased with the Cambridge curriculum, as it is comprehensive and focuses on practical applications. I've observed that my children have developed exceptional writing and communication skills as a result of the English curriculum. This has undoubtedly given them an advantage when it came to applying to universities in the UK and the US. Moreover, this depth of study provided by A-levels has facilitated an easy transition to college studies for both my children. So her daughter has already graduated now. The son is in his second year. Now, looking, it's just a small glimpse of what kind of university placements our students have at DPS International. So it's not, just UK specific, it will be all over. So if you look at the list of universities in US, we have probably the best of universities that you must have heard of. Not that they're not in other universities also, but just to give you a glimpse that, they are able to go into the most competitive universities with doing even 3 A-levels or maybe beyond, because students in my school, most of them do 3 A-levels and they have an option of taking AS level English, which is a choice that they make. Again, most of the universities are just okay with 3 A levels, but our students, we ask them to, mandatorily also take English level at AS level. Though there are a lot of students who do more than 3 A levels also. In fact, we have a lot of students taking up 4, 5, and in some rare cases, there have been students who've taken up 6 A levels also. Not that I'm saying one should take 6, but then somebody who is looking at, somebody who has more interest in different subjects are the students who don't want to drop 1 or 2 of them, and they would rather study all of them. But yes, they have to be, competent enough to take that kind of challenge. But generally, 3 A levels is the norm. If you look at the UK admissions, again, if I have listed 4 top universities over there, the University of Cambridge, Imperial, UCL, and LSE. I've also listed the kind of courses the students get into. So they are, again, the tough courses that generally are very competitive, like the law, economics, architecture, medicine, economics at LSE. So this is how our students have kind of built up a legacy in all of these universities. And it's not in a single year that they go there. Year after year, we get our admissions. This year also, we have already got in, I think, all of them. Imperial, no, not yet. But yes, most of them already. Okay, so now look at the India admissions that our students have got. I mean, we already saw that long list by Sancta Maria. So this is another list that I'm talking about, just the DPS international students. So we have student going for medicine in Maulana Azad College, law to the central universities of India, the most competitive ones for their law, engineering for BITS, Triple IT, been to Delhi University, and other private colleges. So our students are welcome everywhere. And if you look at the other destinations around the world, so I think most of the destinations that we can think of where students go for their higher education, so we can see Canada, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Ireland, Italy, Japan, and et cetera, so all of them have been placed in different universities all around. Coming to scholarships, this person at Purdue says that they're more likely to qualify for academic scholarships. So if you look at just the DPSI students, which is actually a very small percentage of students who studied A levels, so I'm sure there's a bigger list if Cambridge comes out with this kind of a list of scholarships. So ours is a small school with a small number of students graduating every year. So this year we have a cohort of just 33 students graduating. So if you look at that, 2 of our students were awarded the Dr. Manmohan Singh Scholarship at University of Cambridge. That was when it was offered a long back. Now it has been done away with, but then 2 years we got that. Then I'm sure you know of the ILOT scholarship at UBC. 2 of our students, 2 consecutive years, our school got that. Then presidential scholarship at Huron. Again, we got one in 2020. I think that is the year they started, and this year again. And there are lots of others. I'm not naming them. It's just last year we got at Yale. University of Toronto is again a customary place where we get lots of scholarships every year, and different other places. So just to give you a glimpse that it's not just a matter of getting A stars, but also going beyond that, and not just admissions but scholarships as well, which is how they work at. So now what after university placement? So I've just talked about 4 of our students at different years who graduated from our school. So if you look at one of them, Banat, who is presently doing her bachelor's in natural sciences at Cambridge, she is the president of biological sciences. So when she was in school, it's not that, she just did well, went there and is quietly pursuing her bachelor's. No, because the kind of skills she developed being a student of A levels and a student of DPSI as well. So the skills made her, become the president of biological sciences there, which just shows our students, they shine wherever they go. And then the next student I picked up is Vaishnavi, who completed her bachelor's in computer science and mathematics at Cornell with a 4 GPA, and fully funded thesis-based MS in computer science at the Cornell. So again, a very bright student of ours. The next one is Pulkit, who did computer science at UC Berkeley with GPA 4 again, is the recipient of the Edward Francroft Award and was on Dean's honor list in all the semesters that were offered. And again, another star student, Devesh, who graduated from TPSI a few years back. He did the Jerome Fisher program in management and technology at UPenn, graduated with 2 bachelor's of science degrees and a master's of science in computer science within a span of 4 years, which is actually a commendable job because he was that bright and he was the TA all his college life and then even the course instructor when he was a student himself. So he worked for 5 years at Facebook and is presently working at Meta. So this is the end of the slides that I've taken up, just to give you a glimpse into how our students do at school, how they then progress to what kind of admissions they get and what they do in the university. So I'm sure there will be certain questions that I think we can take up in the end, but I would ask Shamim to join and take the presentation further from here. Thank you all for listening with patience.
Thank you, Upasana. I hope all of you found it useful to actually hear testimonials. And as Upasana correctly said, that you just heard testimonials from 2 Cambridge schools. One is DPS International Saket, which is in New Delhi, and Santa Maria International. This is just 2 schools from India. Now, if you come and ask me about, give us a list of all schools, well, that's difficult as an exam board to do because we find it difficult because of data privacy reasons to have testimonials and student details with us always. But then our schools are the right people you need to ask if you really want to know where our students are, what they're studying, what are they doing. They will be the best people. We do have a page on alumni on our website. We have just started populating where students are submitting alumni stories. I'm going to post that link in the chat in a while. So you may be able to see some more testimonials from other Cambridge schools globally. Okay, thanks, Upasana. This is about a survey that we run every year. And this survey is run with Cambridge schools, whom we ask about where our students are going, what are the trends, what are they studying, why are they studying, why are they going to a different country. And as you can see in front of you on the slide, we realize that 60% of Cambridge students globally progress to a university in their own country, which is basically trying to kind of break the myth that all students who do Cambridge qualifications do not go outside the country to undergo their university studies. And we found that 30% of Cambridge students progress to a university outside their own country. 60% of Cambridge students went to attend a top 500 ranked university. And a disclaimer here, we gather this information about these ranked universities because we often get parents asking us, so we keep asking our schools about it. But the way we tell our students is that don't go by rankings only, go by where you fit, which is a program in a university you like, and apply there. And I hope there will come a time when our parents and our schools will stop asking about which ranked university are our students going. I think we need to have a very different kind of conversation going forward about university rankings and why students are going where they're going. Can we go to the next slide? I'm sorry, I was just trying to scroll to the next slide, which I can't. Upasana, please. Okay, so this was when we say 2021, this is actually looking at 2020, 2021, and the effects of the pandemic were still around when it affected the cohorts who were used for this particular survey. And when we asked our schools whether Cambridge students going outside the country, their own country, was this trend increasing or decreasing? So we got very mixed results, to be very honest. And I think the reason is because in depending upon where these schools are located, they saw mixed interests. Some 14% said that, it's declining. They are not going as much as earlier they would go outside their own country, whereas 53% schools said that there is no change in the trend. And we know for sure in the 2 years where the pandemic hit the most, many families who were affected had to change their plans about where they would send their children to go and study for their undergraduate plans. And the reasons, all the respondents who said that the trend was declining had cited the COVID pandemic. But the reasons go beyond travel difficulties, and this year financial issues caused by the pandemic are more prominent. So there seems to be an economic fallout from the COVID pandemic. But interestingly, I just want to share this story with all of you. 2 weeks back, I was at a university campus interviewing Cambridge students in India. And I happened to meet this very bright student who is now in the second year of undergraduate study, meaning the student joined the program at the peak of the pandemic. So the students said that because of the pandemic, they decided to apply to a university in India that was closer to home. However, the student was so sure that after completing the undergraduate programs, the student was set on going to a university outside India for the master's program. So maybe long-term things haven't changed. In the short term, probably families had to take a very different call. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, I realize that we have probably a handful of universities in this call. So this was aimed primarily for universities. And I was a bit hesitant when I saw that we have a lot of school-based counselors in today's call. But for the universities who are listening in, this is for you. We expect universities to have a clear admissions policy for students with Cambridge qualifications. And we expect them to register their admissions policy with us. And the reason is we maintain a database of university admission policies, which is used by our students. So that's the first stop for our students who look into the policies to see where they want to, how are they going to shortlist the universities depending upon their admission policies. This applies largely also to US universities as well as Indian universities, because US is primarily because students are interested in knowing their credit policies. And for India, I think parents really want to be 100% sure that the universities that they're aiming to is in that list of universities, the database that we have. So my request is, if you are a university in India or anywhere else, please do get in touch with us. I'll share my email at the end of the presentation so that we can work together and you can frame a policy for students which is very clear, especially when it comes to the number of subjects or what subjects are required at what level, so that students find it easy to decide or apply to your universities. We also have result services for universities. In fact, we allow universities an online access to verify our results, which is a very popular service with universities. But this is just for universities, not for schools and not for employers. Predicted grades. Now, there are a lot of queries I know about predicted grades with universities, and my advice is if you are accepting predicted grades, please be very sure as to when the results would be released. Because we have 3 exam series, and I increasingly find universities have started having they have admissions on a rolling basis. So if you have a cutoff, especially Indian universities who are trying this, just ensure you confirm the date by which the results of a particular student will be available. It's possible that a student who is applying from one school is probably taking exams in June, and another student has taken exams in March. So their result timings will be very, very different. So if you're accepting predicted grades, you need to be clear about when to expect the final results. And we also have a e-news for universities where we keep talking about what changes we are making, what qualifications where we are working on, where we need feedback. If universities are interested in working with our schools and with us, we convey all these updates through our newsletters. So if you're a university, you can sign up for this. And that's more or less the last slide, please, Upasana. So here are the email IDs. I would advise if you are from a school or you're an independent counselor, please do write to us also. And you can send emails to our customer service at info@cambridgeinternational.org. If you are a university, you're free to write to me directly. And if you're based in India, I would probably love to meet you. So that comes to the end of the formal presentation, but then we are open to talk and take questions.
Thank you, Shamim. Thank you, Ruchira, and thank you, Upasana, for that wonderful presentation. I think that was pretty exhaustive, and I answered a lot of our questions. But I still see, we can start having questions. So anybody who wants to ask a question live can raise hand, and we can let you go ahead with the question. Meanwhile, if there are some questions from the chat that Shamim you want to address first, you can have a look. Otherwise, I see Priya who has raised her hand, so I'm going to allow Priya to go ahead. Priya, go ahead and ask your question, please. Please introduce yourself
Yeah,
and then ask your question.
sure. Hi, hello, ma'am. This is Priyadarshini here. I am working as a English teacher in Fountainhead Global School, Miapur, and like it is in Hyderabad. Actually, I want to work in a Cambridge University, Cambridge school. So as an English teacher. So which course can I do? Like how to approach? May I have little bit of guidance from you people?
I think this is an employment related question, which probably this is not the right forum to be answering, but Priyadarshini, I would suggest that do get in touch with schools in and around where you live. Our schools are listed on our website, and get in touch with the schools to see what are they looking for. Because in India, there are basic requirements for teachers which they have to meet to be able to teach in a school. And in our schools, we do have trainings also, and there are teachers who would probably do in-service training. We have a suite of professional development qualifications for teachers. Probably you could look at that as well on our website.
Sure, sure. One more question. Actually, no, I'm like pursuing my IC3 International Career and Counseling. So, like the session which is given by you is very informative. This will help me in my. I am a ninth cohort member there, and I think this will be helpful to me in all the ways. So, I want to know a little bit more information about career options in this Cambridge colleges.
As I said, this is not probably the most appropriate forum for career-related advices for teachers. So as I said, that maybe you should just look at the schools and contact the schools and find out what the schools need.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for being so understanding.
Okay, so Mishi, you can go ahead and ask your question, please. Introduce yourself and then go ahead.
Thanks, Ankur. Thank you, everyone. It's great hearing all of you. It was very, very informative. My name's Mishi. I'm the regional advisor for Queen Mary London. I'm based out of India. My question is around predicted grades because often when we go to schools, and Queen Mary is quite strict in giving offers to students from admissions. My question is particularly for Shamim or all of you working in this space as to how I would say how much does it variate from the predicted grades to the actual results when students are being given offer? Because as you may know, that clearing sometimes becomes a difficult task, and we don't want to disappoint student. So that's my question to the panel. Thank you.
Thanks, Mishi. We all know that predicted grades is not a perfect science. Uh, a school comes up with predicted grades based on its own processes. And in Cambridge schools, often we find that students who take the staged assessment and they would take the AS level, that kind of is a good indicator for schools when they're working on predicted grades for students. So in most of these cases, we find that a school probably is very, very close to the final grades that are there they're going to get. Sometimes if they're having their own, it's based on their own internal assessment for students who are taking the linear assessment method. It is possible that there could be slight more variations. But then we also understand that schools have a very strange dilemma when it comes to making predicted grades. They could either be very aspirational about what the student really wants to achieve, or they could just look at what the student has done till now and base the predicted grades on that. And one needs to be fair to students. So you're dealing with 17, 18-year-old kids who are in the final years of the school, and sometimes they may actually do very well after not doing well in one exam. So schools have to be very, very careful, and it's sometimes very student-centric also. I mean, the same rule cannot probably apply to the entire cohort sometimes. But we do provide guidance to schools, and I think our schools are getting a hang of it as to how best they can predict scores so that their university offers stay as the way their students have applied to.
Thank you. Ruchira, you want to add something here? Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
thanks, Ankur. Yeah, Mishi, that's a very important question, I would say. One way to look at this is if you are in doubt, you could actually ask the school for their predicted grades policy. And it does depend, I think, like Shamim said, it's a combination of what the student might have demonstrated already and the potential that student might have. And I think schools that actually maintain integrity themselves around predicted grades, they will be happy to share how they arrive at that. And they may even put up their policy online. I mean, we have our predicted grades policy as part of our handbook on the website. So I think things like that can tell you whether the school is really following a fair process for the students. And again, I think finally the final exam could turn out to be very different, but largely the schools should be able to explain how they've arrived at that. So I feel that could be one measure for universities.
Thank you, Ruchira. Can I have Priya? Priya, you can go ahead and ask your question. Just introduce yourself. Priya, are you there? Okay. I think we'll move on to Neetu. Neetu, if you can introduce yourself and ask your question, please.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Ankur. It was a really enlightening session in terms of knowing how the Cambridge board is working, Cambridge curriculum. I have one specific query, like since I'm a career counselor based out of Guwahati, Assam. and there is only one school here which has the Cambridge curriculum. So, and that too at a higher level, A level. Yeah, so the principal is asking some support to create awareness about this curriculum in this region because it's the only one and not very popular. So what kind of support can I expect from any of you?
Um, so are you from a Cambridge school?
No, I'm not from a Cambridge school, but the principal has requested me to help him with that. So that is the reason why I'm in the workshop, and I need to understand so that I can help him.
Well, what we will note your requirement here, and we will get in touch with the school. We know that there is only one school in Guwahati. In fact, I was in Guwahati the last weekend, and I wish I knew about this so I could have done something. But then I will definitely get in touch with the school to see how we can support best. Thank you for raising it here, Anjali.
Neetu, thank you.
Thank you, Neetu.
Neetu, sorry, I'm so sorry.
If I could also, like, if you don't mind sharing your contact number so that, like, I can get in touch with the principal and then we can connect with you to do some
My
kind
email, I'm going to type my email and
The
you can
chat
take it
box.
up from there, please.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Neetu. May I invite Tanushri? Tanushri, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uncle. And thank you, Shami ma'am, Ruchira ma'am, and Upasna ma'am for conducting such an informative session. My question to all of you would be, as I understand correctly, that in Cambridge curriculum, students are not abide by taking, like, you have to only take 5 subjects or 7 subjects. They can take the combination of subjects as they want. And during the session, you also mentioned that after 1 year, if they find that they are not able to cope with any particular subject, they can drop out. So here I would like to understand, if the student is suppose choosing 5 subjects and one subject he is dropping out, so will he be giving the exam for 4 subject, or the subject he is dropping out he can take a alternative subject?
Well, I'm not sure whether your question was related to the secondary level or the senior secondary level. The
Uh,
5 subject requirement is at secondary level. Are you referring to that?
yes, I'm referring to that.
Okay, so if you're referring to the secondary level, there isn't a choice of dropping as such. The secondary curriculum is a 2-year curriculum. So students in India would typically study that in year 9 and year 10. And students can start off with more than 5 subjects, and they can finally do more than 5 subjects. But if they find it tough, they can drop one subject. But if they're starting off with just 5 subjects, I don't see there is a possibility of dropping a subject.
So the so the minimum requirement is they have to take the 5 subjects.
In India, yes. In India, it is a requirement to get equivalence 5 subject, and that needs to include English language.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I get
Thank
that,
you.
ma'am.
Thank
I'll
you.
also request if you can kindly share the last slide so that I can take the contact info.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I'm typing it on the chat. Will that help?
Yeah.
Yes, sure,
She
ma'am.
has
Sure.
already shared it in the chat box. You can have the contact there. Okay. Anybody has any other question that anybody would like to raise here? Okay, I think that's about it. Anything, Shamim, or okay, I have Charu. So Charu, you can go ahead and ask your question. I saw your hand up. You're on mute.
Oh,
Charu.
sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shamim, Upasna, and Ruchira for sharing your inputs. I think the biggest takeaway from me has been this understanding that even an AS level qualification can be directed towards a community college, perhaps, because there are a number of students who approach you. So I'm an independent and I run my own organization. The question I had was for students sometimes make this statement, the ones who are doing their A levels, that my school is not giving me this A level subject, so I'm doing this on my own. So I get a little concerned about that kind of a statement sometimes, as to how does one approach this. Firstly, can students actually do the entire program through a distant methodology in a distant way, or is it important for the school to validate that kind of a program if they have picked up a certain course? And secondly, in case this is allowed, then how does one approach the entire predicted score? Because the school is not teaching that program, so how does one go about advising the kid on something like that? Please.
Yeah, Ankur, can I take this query?
Yes,
Yeah,
please,
go ahead,
Upasana, go
Upasana.
ahead.
So there are times, when a specific subject choice does not fit into the school timetable. So that can be one reason why the school refuses to give a combination. Or there can be another reason where the school is not offering a particular subject which the student needs to or wants to study for the particular course he's looking at. So it's at that point of time that he thinks that I would rather do an extra subject on my own. So that is again the freedom to do as a private candidate. So there are a lot of students who do generally one subject. It happens that they'll take either 2 or 3 levels with school, and the one that they want to do, they do as a private candidate. Yes, it is not easy to do it on their own, but then they manage. I have seen kids doing subjects like when psychology was not offered in my school, so there were students who picked up psychology. And initially there was a time when we didn't offer English literature at A level, so that time students did take it up on their own outside school with a little bit of help from teachers within the school who were doing the same subjects in IGCSE, specifically English literature when I'm talking about. But kids do manage with there are a lot of resources which are available on Cambridge website, so they're very helpful for students as well. So with that kind of guidance and probably the kind of motivation level the student has, I mean, that's something that you as a counselor can understand. If you feel that this is somebody who's a self-starter and who can stay motivated and do it on his own as a private candidate, then it's not that big an issue. They do it. And yes, predicted grades become a problem with us because as a school, we do not predict a score which we haven't taught. So what they do is they they have some private tutors who probably teach the subject to them outside. So we ask them to take a predicted grade from them. But I don't know about the university's stance on this, how seriously they take that predicted grade. So probably the university would know better, because we as a school have obviously a policy which where we cannot give a predicted grade in that case. So in fact, there was a student few years back who did probably just 2 subjects with us, and 2 she was pursuing as a private candidate. There was some issue in the beginning regarding the predicted grades, but finally she got admission where she wanted. So universities were probably helpful in that matter. So I think it's more to do with now how universities look at that. I hope that answers your question.
I think, thank you, Upasana. I think Ruchira wants to add something here also to this.
Yeah, please,
Yeah,
Ruchira.
I think I totally agree with what Upasana has just spoken about the private candidates. Charu, just to add to that, there can be some subjects which have coursework requirements. For example, media studies is one of those subjects. So those are actually moderated by the teachers themselves. In some cases, they are assessed by the school and then moderated by Cambridge. So basically, they do have requirements for a teacher to actually look into a certain part of the course. So I think it'll be a good idea for universities to also become a little familiar with the A-level courses. And especially if they do get to know about a private candidate, perhaps those are some of the checks or things to look into, how the coursework would be done. Because we generally find it difficult to say yes to a private candidate with a coursework requirement. Same thing for a subject like global perspectives, where you need to do a team project. So that can't happen as a private candidate. So I think there are some ifs and buts, but if a student is very dedicated, then non-coursework subjects, we also have examples where students take them. So yeah, that should be, I think it's just multiple things associated with private
There's
candidates.
so many permutations, combinations, but another follow-up question to this is that let's assume that the student wants to do a couple of courses as a private candidate. So does Does Cambridge have resources on their main website that allow this? And are there private tutors readily available that they can sign up with them and do it independently? Maybe, let's say, a Guwahati, for example. Now, maybe there's another area, let's say Asansol, that doesn't have a school there, but the student wants to do A levels only. Can they sign up with a private tutor and do this complete thing online? Is that a possibility also?
So I'll just say, Shamim, I'll just say maybe briefly, and then you can add. So Charu, it's not really necessarily online, though Cambridge now also has online schools. So they have actually approved online schools. It depends on what courses those schools might be teaching. So a student could actually enroll with an online school, and these list of schools are available on the Cambridge website. However, all the resources, study materials, resources, past papers, so a lot of materials are available on Cambridge website. So a student could use a combination of utilizing those resources, and if they have the option to get a tutor either physically or online, or study with an online approved school, there are those options that are available. Sorry, Shamim, you wanted to say something about this question.
Yeah, no, as universities, we would always tell them to check, because see, a lot of our courses are not open for private candidates, number one. So for example, global perspectives and research is not offered to private candidates at IGCSE or at A levels. A lot of science subjects are not offered. So students have a limited choice when they're looking at it. And even when it comes to online schools cannot offer the entire breadth of subjects that we have. So it's limited. As somebody who is, if you are talking to or advising a student, you should know that in India, we do not encourage students to go fully as a private candidate. We want them to be enrolled with a school. They may do one or two subjects here and there, out of the interest, but it's important that they are enrolled with a school. That's primarily because in India, schooling is a requirement. So it's important that students and parents are aware of this before taking any decision where they want to study fully private. We do not encourage that in India.
That's wonderful to know, because once it's part of a policy, I think, then more and more students will be encouraged to obviously do it the right way. Thank you so much, Amin.
Thank you. We have time for one last question. Usha, you want to go ahead and ask a question? Then we'll conclude.
Hi everyone. Thanks. And since we are running short of time, I'll make it very simple. Just extending the previous question. Here is a child who wants to do further maths. The child is already doing it at AS level, and if the school is not offering it in the secondary, which means in class 12, can the student do the AS level further math through the school, and can she continue privately to do the A2 level in class 12?
Well, I would suggest that this is something that the school will advise best. Because what happens, the AS results get carried over to the A2 result, which is the year 12 one. And if the entry of the student is made by one center, there is a possibility it could be transferred to another, but it is very complicated. So it's important that they approach the school and find out if it's a possibility. So our customer services will be the right people to guide the school in this case.
Okay, understood. So which means the possibility of entering the same subject from two different entry points could become complicated, and that's why we don't want to advise this child of a possibility. Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Shamim, Upasna, and Ruchira for taking time out and presenting such exhaustive presentations. I think uh, uh, on behalf of that outreach collective, on behalf of myself and Bhakti, I'd like to say a thank you to all of you for being here and being on the panel. The Outreach Collective is a initiative, membership-driven initiative, a not-for-profit where we are trying to bring uh, uh, a lot of people that have very difficult to get access to on a single platform. So I would like to thank you for making yourself available to the larger community. I believe I am seeing the comments in the comment section, in the chat section, where you have already received a lot of fantastic reviews for your session. So I will say again many thank you, and I hope we will have many more opportunities to collaborate with you in coming months and years.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure joining all of you.
Yeah, Shamim, you were on mute when you were thanking, but thank you from all of us for this session.
I shouldn't be on mute when I'm thanking. Thank you so much, Ankur and Bhakti, for getting us to do this. I think we would be happy to do something similar if ever required, or anything else, because we do find that when people are genuinely interested, we would be happy to make ourselves available and answer queries. Thank you for getting this done.
I mean, just to give you a number, I mean, you already know the registration number. We had more than one third of the Outreach Collective membership here. I think more close to 40% of people who registered for your session. I mean, amazing response. Not everybody is here, but we'll definitely recording this session. It will be up on our YouTube channel by tomorrow. And I'm sure many people and teachers and university outreach professionals and independent consultants will benefit from this session for many years to come. So thank you so much, Shamim. Thank you, Pasna. Thank you, Ruchira. From
I'm glad we
all of
could
us.
contribute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All of us at
Thank you.
Outreach Collective, sincere gratitude. Bye-bye. Thank you everyone for joining in
Bye-bye.
who
Bye.
made it to the session. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.